I'm sure by now everyone knows about the Zodiac killer, so I don't really need to go into too much detail. Still, it is a rather interesting subject that hasn't really found its way into gaming. Well, in the Punch Punk Games developed adventure horror, This is the Zodiac speaking, players can approach the subject from a journalist's perspective. However, the Nintendo Switch is probably the worst way to experience the best elements this game has to offer.
Robert, I gave you 2 years of my life. That's almost 800 days that you owe me.
This is the Zodiac speaking has players assume the role of Robert Hartnell, as he receives a call from the famous serial killer, the Zodiac. It's then that we see elements of Robert's life, becoming consumed by the killer, so much so that he even seeks psychiatric help, which plays a substantial role in the gameplay loop. Over time, Robert could be considered another one of the Zodiac's victims, even if he's still alive, as he loses much of his loved ones since the only thing he cares about is the serial killer's motives. I was pretty conflicted with Robert at first. The story doesn't seem to want you to like or hate him. Instead, you feel like you're just on the ride through his recovery as he pieces together these events. However, it's then you learn that the game is non-linear and you've had an effect on the plot for longer than you might have guessed. The game doesn't explicitly tell you things about the narrative and how your choices can weigh on the multiple endings that it offers. However, it also seems to leave out important gameplay elements as players conduct detective work and piece together clues. The problem with this is that you aren't a detective, so it's not clear why Robert is the one that has to do this. These elements make you question what is real and what is part of Robert's deteriorating mental state. It makes for some of the more interesting moments of gameplay that leave the narrative being the most redeeming factor about this experience, at least when it comes to the Switch version. While you recount some of the murders conducted by the Zodiac killer, you are thrust into an environment where you can investigate the area, collect items, look for clues, and then bring it all together. While this works for the most part, the game does a pretty bad job at explaining it and opts to instead focus on the fact that while you're doing all of this, the Zodiac killer is walking around ready to kill you. Interestingly, this does make sense since we are looking into Robert's idea of the murder scenes. It resembles how the Zodiac killer is constantly haunting him, so I guess I can't knock the imaginative murderer for the lacking AI. As the Zodiac killer walks around, you must avoid him, which only sucks because he has an excellent sightline, but different elements factor into this, such as lighting and hiding behind structures. However, the Switch makes it incredibly difficult to know when you're in light or not due to the lack of graphics outside of an indicator on the screen. I took a look at the PC version and was simply blown away and a little jealous of how the developers use the lighting to set the tone of the level. For the most part, the Switch version rips away everything that makes the stealth gameplay mechanics fun. You are left with cartoonish environments that came right out of the PlayStation era. The game loses any sense of tension because you are more focused on what's about to pop in the screen as you navigate the stage. If you haven't already, it's around this time that you'll absolutely wish you were playing the PC version. The sound levels are all over the place, and the gameplay features become a chore because you start to wish that you had just turned off the option for the Zodiac to be present in the first place. On the other hand, you kind of want him there because it's supposed to give the levels an eerie feeling. Sadly, this version of the game puts a magnifying glass on everything that is lacking.
Monica.
This is the Zodiac speaking is a decent psychological thriller, significantly hurt by the Switch's underpowered hardware. The narrative is there, but everything falls short in terms of visuals, graphical glitches, and sound. There are some nice features here, but I urge you to play the PC version if you can. Noisy Pixel is giving This is the Zodiac speaking on Switch a 5.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review on noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.